my new listeners, welcome to the Dusk and Dreams podcast. And to my fellow returning night wanderers, welcome back. I'm your host, Yarrow, though some call me YLDragons when the night gets wilder and the games begin. Tonight, Yarrow steps aside, and the dragon steps through. Here, on Friday nights, we fly beyond the edge of reality, into tales of gods and monsters, secrets and shadows, legends whispered in the dark. And tonight, we're crossing the veil into one of the most legendary territories in folklore, the realm of the werewolf. This is not your average bedtime story. So if you're ready to chase the wild and explore the deep, follow me. You know the image, a full moon hanging heavy in the sky, silver light slicing through the trees, and that distant, chilling howl that sends shivers down your spine. But what truly lies behind this myth? Is it just horror movie fodder? Or do werewolves whisper something deeper to us about our raw instincts, our fear of unpredictable changes, and the wildness that still stirs in our very bones? And werewolves are not alone. All across the world, cultures have given names and forms to other creatures of the night. Shapeshifters, nocturnal hunters, and beings cloaked in animal skin. What are they truly trying to tell us about ourselves and the world we live in? Tonight, we're going to sink our teeth into these ancient stories. So, get comfortable and maybe pull the blankets up just a little higher or cozy up to the campfire. We're about to venture into the deep, dark woods. The roots of the werewolf legend stretch deep into the soil of ancient myth. One of the oldest and most famous versions comes from ancient Greece, the haunting tale of King Lycaon. Lycaon was a proud and reckless king of Arcadia. One evening, as the story goes, Zeus himself came to Lycaon's hall disguised as a mortal, seeking shelter and testing the hospitality of men. But Lycaon, arrogant and deeply skeptical, decided to test the god. He committed a truly shocking act. He slaughtered one of his own sons and served the flesh to Zeus as part of a meal. Zeus, of course, saw through the deception instantly. Enraged not only by the unspeakable act of cannibalism, but by Lycaon's disrespectful attempt to trick a god, Zeus rose in fury. Thunder cracked, lightning blazed, and before Lycaon could speak another word, he was cursed. His body twisted, bones snapping, hair sprouting, his voice turning to a guttural growl. He became a wolf, not just any beast, but a ravenous creature stripped of human reason, cursed to wander the forests, driven by raw instinct and forever banished from human society. From this chilling myth, the word lycanthropy was born, literally the transformation of a man into a wolf. But this wasn't just a punishment. It was a powerful warning. Lycaon had not only committed a terrible moral sin, but a profound spiritual one, crossing the sacred line between man and beast, between respect and arrogance. His tale echoes through time, reminding us what happens when pride clouds wisdom, and when the civilized mask is torn away by something ancient, wild, and howling beneath the surface. The tale of King Lycaon doesn't stand in isolation. It actually comes from a far older tradition rooted in local Arcadian worship. In the highlands of Arcadia, Zeus Lycaeus wasn't just the thunder god we often think of. He was seen as a powerful force of the wilderness, the animal spirit of the mountain itself. The Lycaea festival held in his honor was no light celebration. It included deeply primal rituals, some of which, as old writings suggest, involved the offering, or in whispered accounts, even the consumption of human flesh. This wasn't just savagery. It was seen as a deep spiritual breaking of rules and a powerful transformation. The Arcadians believed that to cross certain forbidden lines, to offend the gods through arrogance or by breaking a taboo, was to risk becoming something other, not just metaphorically, but quite literally. The forest didn't just swallow those who sinned, it reshaped them from the inside out. And so, over time, the myth of the werewolf became more than just divine punishment. It evolved into a moral story. As these tales traveled from ancient mountain temples to medieval churches, they shifted, no longer just about a god's justice, but about people straying from accepted behavior. The cursed man became a warning. If you strayed from the right path, broke society's rules, or embraced the wildness within too much, you could become monstrous. By the time the myth reached the damp forests of Northern Europe, the divine punishment aspect had given way to something more frightening: the devil's work. The werewolf was no longer a man punished by gods, but a soul claimed by dark forces. The transformation wasn't a natural consequence. It was seen as a corruption, an evil spell. So from a sacred ritual to a whispered tale of dark magic, the werewolf story has tracked the shape of fear across history. It's not just a beast in the dark, but a powerful reflection of how humans have always grappled with the wild, both in nature and deep within ourselves. Some scholars even point out the different ways this story was told. In Ovid's Metamorphoses, for example, it's a very clear moral lesson. Zeus is a just god, punishing human evil. But in contrast, old writings by Pausanias hint at older local rituals and spiritual tests, less about a simple crime and more about ancient power and profound breaking of sacred rules. Yet the core myth always remains: a human challenges or offends the divine, and is then remade by the raw, untamed, wild. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't know the iconic image: a huge silver moon rising full and clear, casting long, eerie shadows through a silent forest. And somewhere out there, a chilling howl echoing against the trees. The full moon has become completely linked with werewolves, but that connection isn't as ancient as you might think. It actually emerged over time, tying into our deeper, more primal relationship to lunar cycles. The moon has always been a powerful symbol of mystery, change, emotion, and deep power. Its pull doesn't just stir the oceans, but seems to stir something wild within us. Ancient cultures didn't just admire the moon, they revered it, feared it, and read important signs in its phases. And when we talk about the werewolf under the full moon, we're talking about that intense moment when control slips, when the tide turns, both literally and figuratively. The full moon is a powerful mirror. In ancient Babylonian astrology, the moon was seen as a divine recorder, tracking destinies and behaviors. In Celtic stories, it was a symbol of fertility and a source of foresight. In traditional Chinese thought, the moon embodied the yin energy, which is about being receptive, dark, reflective, and it represented the shifting balance of our emotional forces. And across all these traditions, the full moon held a dual nature. It could reveal hidden truths, or it could distort reality. It could illuminate, or it could unleash. The werewolf then becomes not just a monster of the night, but a striking symbol of unchecked instinct, of raw emotion breaking through the thin veil of civility. It's like the moon doesn't change us, it just unmasks us. We all have a version of ourselves we keep carefully hidden, buttoned up under daylight's constant gaze. But when the moon rises, maybe we feel a little more primal, a little more honest with ourselves. The werewolf legend brilliantly plays with that idea, that somewhere inside us is a wild self, patiently waiting for its cue. And the transformation itself, often described as violent, involuntary, and irreversible, is deeply psychological. It perfectly reflects our human anxiety about what we can't control within ourselves. It's the subconscious breaking through the neat order of the conscious mind. It's that beast lurking beneath our polite outer appearance. We've seen this idea echoed throughout classic Gothic literature, in Carl Jung's profound archetypes, and even in many modern horror stories. The full moon, then, isn't necessarily the cause of the change. It's more like the ultimate permission slip for something already there. So, when we stare up at that glowing disk in the sky, maybe part of us isn't just afraid of what's out there, but of what's waiting inside, ready for its moment. Now, while the legends and myths of the werewolf may have sprouted from European soil, its kin, other fascinating creatures of the night, can be found prowling through folklore on every continent. These are shapeshifters, soul stealers, and beasts born of deep fears and powerful transformations. Let's take a nightbound journey around the globe to meet them. First stop, the humid, shadow-laced jungles of the Philippines. Here we find the aswang, a creature that wears many skins. By daylight, she may be your quiet, kind neighbor, seemingly ordinary. But by night, she transforms. Sometimes she's winged like a bat, other times sinewy and fanged, creeping on rooftops, her tongue extending impossibly long to feed on the unborn or the dying. The aswang myth is a chilling blend of fear and familiarity. It's not just a monster that lurks in physical darkness. It's the deep-seated fear that the darkness is already among us, hidden in plain sight. Entire villages have built superstitions, protective charms, and rituals to detect and defend against her, often involving salt, ash, or the watchful eyes of a barking dog. She represents more than just horror. She's a cultural embodiment of betrayal, unseen illness, hidden danger, and the pervasive anxiety that evil doesn't always come with warning growls. Sometimes it smiles. Next, we fly to the frost-bitten forests of the northern United States and Canada, where the wind howls like a soul in pain and trees groan under the weight of snow. From these harsh lands emerges the Wendigo, a towering skeletal creature with rotting skin stretched thin over bones, lips eaten away by an endless hunger, eyes sunken but ever seeking. In Algonquian legend, the Wendigo begins as a human until extreme desperation, often through acts like cannibalism or unrestrained greed, completely corrupts the soul. That hunger becomes eternal, never satisfied. The Wendigo doesn't just consume flesh, it consumes the human self, leaving only a monstrous emptiness. Some stories say it whispers to you, tempting you in times of starvation, offering survival at the terrible cost of your soul. It stands as a stark warning. What are we willing to become when the world turns truly cruel? And is there a point beyond which we lose our humanity forever? From there, we head out into the sacred territory of the Navajo. Here we find powerful tales of Lushi, the skinwalker. This is not a beast by accident, but a human who chooses to become monstrous. They are a witch, shrouded in deep secrecy, who wears the skin of an animal, like a coyote, wolf, or owl, to gain its powers and commit dark deeds. Unlike the werewolf, whose transformation is often a cursed fate, the skinwalker is a thief of form, intentionally using transformation for malevolent purposes. They have eyes that burn red, speed that blurs, and a presence that chills the soul. And they're not just legend. Belief in skinwalkers is a potent and very real part of many Navajo communities today. This legend isn't about primal instinct being unleashed. It's about power corrupted, about a sacred practice of shape-shifting turned into a weapon for evil. And now, let's cross into the epic mythscapes of India, where demons often wear elegant disguises. The Rakshasa is a shapeshifter of a different breed entirely. Often portrayed in Hindu epics like the Ramayana, Rakshasas can appear as noble, charming humans by day. But beneath that convincing mask lies a cunning, cannibalistic predator, sometimes tiger-clawed, sometimes ogre-like, always deceptive. They live in forests or walk among unsuspecting people, charming and deceiving, sowing chaos wherever they go. Their stories warn us of illusion, the seductive power of appearances and the danger of being lured into trust too easily. The Rakshasa isn't just the monster in the jungle. It's the voice that flatters, the face that lies. In some modern interpretations, they brilliantly reflect the inner war between discipline and indulgence, self-control and temptation. They are the polished evil, the beast dressed in velvet. Each of these fantastical beings, Aswang, Wendigo, Skinwalker, Rakshasa, mirrors something different about human nature. Betrayal, greed, corruption, illusion, and yet they all truly come alive in the deepest parts of the night. The dark doesn't create these monsters. It just reveals them. Let's go deeper now, beyond claws and curses, past fangs and fables, into the raw psychology of what it means to be the beast within. Because these stories aren't just for entertainment, as fantastic as they are for that. They're also profound reflections, mirrors, echoes of our own inner landscape. And the werewolf, in particular, that's our shadow. The werewolf myth endures across centuries and cultures because it speaks to something truly primal within us. That whispering thought we try to bury, the fear that beneath all our manners, our productivity, our polished perfection, lies something untamed, something hungry, something angry, something we've tried to civilize but never quite silenced. From a psychological standpoint, the werewolf is the ultimate metaphor for the duality of human nature. Carl Jung, a famous psychologist, called it the shadow self, the part of our mind that holds all the repressed instincts and emotions we consider unacceptable. Things like intense rage, deep sadness, even unbridled joy in its wildest forms. When we repress these powerful feelings, we don't erase them. We simply feed them in the dark corners of our minds. And myths like the werewolf offer a powerful story for that. A narrative where those hidden forces erupt under just the right conditions. In this case, the moon becomes the trigger. A profound reminder that we all have cycles, phases, our own darkness that rises when the light shifts. That's what makes werewolves so unsettling. They're not monsters born from other worlds. They're us, unleashed. And these transformations are never gentle. They're often described as violent, bloody, bone-snapping, skin-tearing, minds-shattering. This metamorphosis is a kind of psychological breakdown, like what happens when you bottle up every emotion, every trauma, and then one night, under just the right pressure, it all explodes. And these tales don't just haunt us in fiction. Think of how we speak in everyday language. I lost control. I became someone else. I don't even recognize myself. Werewolf myths simply turn those common metaphors literal, playing out our deepest fears on a grand scale. There's also the very nature of these stories being nocturnal. Nighttime has always represented the unknown, the unconscious mind. It's the realm of our dreams, our deepest fears, and our hidden secrets. So of course, it becomes the perfect backdrop for these profound transformations. In the broad daylight, we carefully manage how we behave. But in the dark, that's when the deepest parts of our minds play their wildest tricks. And so, we light candles, we play soft lullabies, we whisper stories to make the dark feel less scary. But part of us is drawn to it, isn't it? To the mystery, to the mayhem, to the part of ourselves we're afraid to truly know, but secretly wish we could touch, just for a moment. Werewolves and creatures of the night hold the keys to that forbidden door. They ask, what would happen if you stopped pretending? What would you truly become if you let go? Maybe the beast isn't what we should truly fear. Maybe what's scarier is how good it might feel to let it out, even just for a moment. Thank you for journeying with me through the shadows tonight, and for daring to face the wild within. These stories aren't meant to simply excite or frighten. They're meant to illuminate, to awaken curiosity about the powerful, often hidden parts of ourselves that live in dusk, darkness, and our dreams. The werewolf may be myth, but the questions it raises are eternal. Who are we truly when the masks fall away? What untamed instincts lurk beneath our civilized skin? Whether you howl at the moon or keep a candle burning against it, know that you are welcome here in this shared space. And I'm so glad you've joined me. If you have a story, a creature, or a transformation myth you'd like us to explore on a future episode, please do send it in. I'd love to hear from you. Next Tuesday, we return to the softer side of things with a heartwarming journey into pets at night, strange behaviors, and bedside antics. We'll uncover the curious, comical, and sometimes mysterious ways of our animal companions after dark. From nighttime zoomies to midnight cuddles, you'll hear how our pets shape, soothe, and sometimes stir our sleep. Expect a quieter soundscape, a gentler storyline, and a warm, safe space to reflect. Then, on Friday, the Dragons returns to the night sky and dark shadows in an episode you won't want to miss, as we continue to explore creatures of the moon. We'll prowl through global folklore, from Slavic Rusalka to Celtic fae that ride moonlight, and ask, what is it about the moon's cycle that unlocks such wild beauty and danger? Until then, sleep with one eye open, or at least keep a silver coin by your bedside. It's been a privilege to guide you through another night on Dusk and Dreams. If this podcast helps you find peace, spark creativity, or simply offers a moment of captivating escape, please consider following or subscribing wherever you listen. Your support helps us build this community of night-minded souls. We're available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon, as well as many others. To learn more about the show or connect with the Dragons Dusk and Dreams team, visit www.breakgrid.com or follow me on Instagram at YaroDiamond. Thank you for listening and for sharing this time with me. Until we meet again, remember, the night listens back.